Hi guys, Scott Speed here, welcoming you to the Volkswagen Beetle GRC car here in iRacing. It is so fun. Wanted to give you guys some pointers around the track here. This is the actual track that we drove in Daytona. It looks unbelievable. When you see the footage from the onboard of the actual track, it's crazy how similar they got it. Give you some tips on the car. First thing you're gonna notice is this thing is a 2-liter turbo engine that has over 600 horsepower, and it is geared for acceleration. So you're gonna go through the gearbox very quickly. That's the first thing you know. As soon as you leave the pits, you're gonna be like, wow. You're just gonna have to upshift gears very rapidly. And then you're gonna get on the brakes for the first time, and you're gonna notice this big momentum shift. As the car is gonna lean over, it's gonna have a ton of weight transfer, and that's because we run really soft springs in this thing to get the traction that you're gonna need in the dirt. Once you get through the first corner, you're probably gonna realize that as soon as you touch the throttle, it doesn't really want to turn anymore. You've got to be aware that four-wheel drive likes to stop very quickly, and it likes to go very quickly. It doesn't like the corner so much. To the first corner, you definitely want to wait until you're kind of straight to get on the gas, and that'll bring you up to the really fun section. And you get to experience dirt in a four-wheel drive rally car for the first time, and it's incredible. The thing you're gonna notice is that the car wants to just continue going in whatever direction it started in. So when you approach these corners, you're really gonna have to turn quite before the corner, very early, and the car is gonna develop this momentum to it. It's still very important to hit the apex and to be very tidy and clean, but you're gonna have to do that with the momentum of the car. And then you got this nice jump that is really fun. One thing to keep in mind when you're in the air is if you hit the brakes, the front end will come down. If you hit the gas, the front end will come up a little bit. So you got to control, kind of like an airplane, the pitch of the car in the air so you're kind of flying straight. And as soon as you land here, you're going to want to start heading left. You're going to give it a big input and start it sliding to the left. And you're just going to be constantly trying to slow this thing down to make this corner, because it's very, very slippery and it's a very tight corner. And the preferred line, believe it or not, is still going to be right here at the apex. Once you get out of here, the next couple corners are relatively simple, typical tarmac corners. Not a lot to these stuff. This is all flat out. And yeah, let's see what a full lap looks like.
Welcome, one and all, to V8's Online's live broadcast of the Oceanic Sprint Championship. It's been a crazy 3 months as this season has gone through its ups and downs, lefts and rights. And we're here at the 12th and final round of the season at the Suzuka International Racing Course for the title decider. My name is Reese Gardiner, and joining me in the commentary box, Jay Kennedy. Jay, it's been a great season of OSC, but it ends tonight.
It does, and we will crown the inaugural champion. Hello, Reese. Hello, everyone. It's going to be a fantastic night of racing. We've seen some amazing racing, some amazing battles, but the battle between Ross Rizzo, Anthony Winkelman all season has absolutely turned it on. Either of these two guys can win the championship, and whichever way it goes, both would be deserving champions.
Yeah, certainly. It's been a hard-fought season for these guys. It's had some interesting things happen this season. Of course, car choice has been open for the majority of the season, so we've seen drivers hopping between certain cars. Anthony Winkelman in his Mercedes, Ross Rizzo in his BMW for this final round, and well, the Mercedes is out on top right now. Winkelman is 4/10 ahead of Rizzo in qualifying. Rizzo currently in third place. So, I mean, it's going to be a challenge, I think, for Rizzo to win this race. But from that position that he's in right now, the championship is basically his. But anything can happen, really.
Well, the thing for Winkelman, he really has to win this race. He does have to have other things fall into place to give him the championship. But if he wins the race, he at least does the first and most important thing. After that, it's up to Ross Rizzo to not throw it away. Rizzo just needs a solid performance. A top six, guarantees him the championship. But we know in these sort of races that anything can happen, and something strange will happen. How it will fall, we don't know yet.
Yeah, certainly not, especially around a track like Suzuka. This is a track that, in terms of GT3 racing, I haven't really seen that much of. It's one of the most highly regarded circuits in the world, and for good reason. Nothing but long, flowing, high-speed up and down turns, which really plays havoc with the mechanical grip of some of these cars. Pretty cold weather, though, in this server right now, so the drivers have got a lot of grip available to them.
And the time's not as close in qualifying as what they were in practice. Practice, we saw the top 3 or 4 cars separated by a tenth or so, but at the moment in qualifying, Winkelman's out by nearly half a second at the moment. He's just gone back out for another lap, as has Rizzo, so they'll have one final crack at pipping top spot, but another solid field against 18 drivers out on track again tonight, and a good mix of cars once again, but surprisingly no Ferrari tonight.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. No one's selecting the Ferrari for the final round. I mean, balance of performance changes in the last few months have put the Ferrari sort of on the back foot in comparison with the other GT3 cars, so I wouldn't say it's entirely surprising, but still, it's a shame because we always saw at least one Ferrari in the field.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing to not have a Ferrari out there, but Season 2 announced today, and
yes,
the cars will have to be locked in before the start of the season, so that will really mix up how drivers play. We possibly will have some balance of performance adjustments made by them too, so it could absolutely mix up the championship next time around. I think it will be even more hard fought next time around when we come back for Season 2 of OSC.
Yeah, certainly a fantastic announcement over the last couple of days by Oceanic Racing, who are going to become GT Leagues Australia after the conclusion of the Oceanic Endurance Championship in the early months of next year. So, yeah, big changes coming for this league.
Yeah, some exciting changes, and originally the OSC come from, as Winkelman has a big slide through turn 2, and that will nullify any chance of him improving his time with not long left on the clock. But this championship sort of come about almost last minute. Simon Mazzomo, the brainchild behind this one, he loves his GT racing, tried to get a GT series off the ground a little while ago, and then Didn't quite happen. Then linking this up with the OEC, which originally it was just going to be Oceanic Endurance, but then Oceanic Racing, sort of a little bit confusing to some people with Oceanic Sim Racing. So name change probably for the better for everyone, and I think it's a pretty cool initiative. Call themselves GT Leagues Australia and focus on the GT and endurance style racing, which we both love, Reese, but the community as a whole is really starting to gravitate towards.
Yeah, certainly. It's before the last couple of years, it was lean times if you wanted to get into the prototype and GT game in the Z community. I mean, for very good reason, the V8 supercar has been the dominant sort of car that everyone gravitates towards in this part of the world. But yeah, I mean, with the increased status of GT3 racing worldwide in real life, and of course the World Endurance Championship becoming one of the biggest series in the world, if not the biggest, some would say it even rivals Formula One. The status of endurance racing has really grown, and people are really gravitating towards this European style of racing now.
I think the success of the Bathurst 12 Hour over the recent years and seeing the rise of GT racing in Australia, I mean, it's still not anywhere near as strong as we both hope it will be in the future, but I think GT racing and endurance racing in Australia is getting a lot more popular than what it once was, and we'll no doubt see that reflect in sim racing times in the coming months and years. And big congratulations to the guys behind Oceanic Racing, who will become GT Leagues Australia, to increase their portfolio and grow the community as a whole in GT and endurance racing.
Yeah, certainly. As I just saw Ross Rizzo come across the line setting a 56 flat, so he's still putting out some consistent qualifying pace in this session, but he's not quite able to get a run on Anthony Winkleman in this session. He's still attacking those S's at Suzuka. Just look at how that BMW handles these curves.
He's absolutely leaving it all out there. He's not leaving anything on the table, not leaving anything to chance. He'll want to try and start up as high as possible. He has a couple of internet issues and glitches, but at the moment it's about 5 tenths or just under 5 tenths off the time of Winkleman, which is a very, very impressive time. They are 55.5, very good lap.
Yeah, for sure. Winkleman and Phil Sell top two, and top two Mercedes as well. But I got to say, in terms of teams as well, it's been a very good spread all season. We've seen drivers and teams competing that we don't usually see, and occasionally Jared Filsell has popped in for a bit of a run, and he's done extremely well for Trans-Tasman Racing, but mostly it's been Anthony Winkleman of Trick Sim Sports and Ross Rizzo right here for Pro Force Racing.
It's been good to see different teams from what we would normally see, especially with our primary focus being V8 supercars over the past few years. Great to see different teams, and we are having a bit more of a GT style racing focus, and Pro Force Racing have done a very, very good job over the recent months, and Mad Cow Racing, which now Winkleman and Silvassi are driving for in the Blancpain Endurance Series as well as this championship. It's good to see some alternate names and alternate teams mixing it up at the front of the field.
Yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, just looking down through the field, it looks like the only people out on track right now, Matt Morris is currently taken to the track in his McLaren. Of course, he's just coming out of the Casio Triangle through the last turn now. And Matt Morris, he's been one of those guys that he's always just been a little off the beaten path when it comes to car selection. He hasn't been seen out of that McLaren all season, and the McLaren is a notoriously difficult car to drive. So props to Matt for sticking with that car. Yep,
very, very good to see him stick with it. And he's just missed out on actually posting a lap. He crossed the start-finish line to start his flying lap about 2 seconds after the clock hit zero, but Blake Neck is on a flying lap at the moment in the second of our BMWs. Oh, sorry, the third of our BMWs in the field. I just realised there's 3 out there. But yeah. Blake Neck, driver formerly for Evolution Racing Team, out for Forerunner Motorsports now. He's very, very competitive in the GT cars.
Yeah, certainly is. Blake, he's a little bit crazy at times, actually. He enjoys soloing his endurance stuff, driving for 8 hours at Le Mans, etc., etc., just going until he can't anymore. But in this sprint format, he's definitely shown his worth as well. He's currently in the top 10, which is nothing to sneeze at, and well, the way he's taken 130R full commitment through that last part of the circuit. See how he does through the triangle. A little bit of oversteer on the exit, but he manages to keep the throttle nice and planted, sticking all the way to the right-hand side of the track. That's going to be 56.6, so he's going to improve, but no change in position for Blake Neck.
And Matt Morris is going to be the last driver to come across the line, but looking at all of the timing I can see in front of me, I don't believe this lap time will count. We'll keep it up on the screen and we'll see whether it does or not. But Matt Morris is going to have a tough night ahead of him if he has to come all the way through the field. He has got a lap time in, it is actually registered, but it isn't enough to move him any positions. He'll start this one from 16th. And we will now run through the race grid with Winkelmann starting from pole, 4.5 tenths of a second ahead of Jared Filsell in second position. Ross Rizzo will start in third. If it finishes in those orders for the front three, we will see Ross Rizzo win the championship. Martin Silvassi starts in fourth with Mark Rayner fifth. Brad Watson in sixth, then Justin Strickland, Jeremy Franklin, Blake Neck, and TJ Brown rounding out the top 10.
Philip Morton is going to start from position number 11. Mark Simon in 12th. Philip Stoneman in 13th. Simon Mazzomo starting from 14th place. JP Courier in 15th. The last driver to set a time, Matt Morris in the McLaren, looked like he was having a bit of trouble on that lap, just keeping the car under him. So he will start from near the back of the grid, and Ryan O'Sullivan and Phil Gadd are the last drivers to appear on the timing sheets.
A fairly short run for these guys to get to the start line. 45 minutes as always. We will have a pit stop, which we've seen taken around about the 10 to 8 minute mark left in the race. And it's always a real mix-up once it comes times for those pit stops, because some strategy games really do play in these fairly short races, 45 minutes, but it's enough time to save some fuel and undercut, which we've seen a few times throughout this series.
Yeah, for sure. And Suzuka, I think, will be extremely interesting in that respect, because it's got some very fast sections and a lot of the track is actually spent on the throttle. So these guys are going to be sucking up the fuel.
Yeah, so it might be a little bit of a mix-up with how these guys do play fuel numbers, but some smart moves have been made, and I must say Ross Rizzo has done a fantastic job on strategy this season. We saw some performances which could have really cost him the championship and somehow managed to come through and pick up a good result. Bathurst last week springs to mind as the biggest example of that. Yeah, found himself in lap 1 trouble, had internet issues, and somehow was moved his way up, and I think he finished 5th. So it's going to be interesting to see how he goes again. And, as I said, a driver that has done very, very well on strategy, but I think a lot of these guys now have really worked out how to play these strategy games in this series. It's been a very mixed field the whole way through, and you can't guarantee a winner right until the last second. In saying that, Jared Filsell has missed the grid, and he will have to start this race from the pits.
Well, it looks to me like he isn't even in the server. I just looked at the server logs, and the last thing mentioning Filsell mentions that he's disconnected. So Jared Filsell not taking the start at all.
Bit surprising. I know he was streaming before, so well, just been sent a message. Pretty much everyone in the race has a position to gain in the championship, so everyone in this race has something to fight for the whole way through the field. It's going to come down to the wire. The final race, season 1 of the Oceanic Sprint Championship. 45 minutes to Suzuka, and away we go. Winkelmann gets a very good jump, and Rizzo's gone with him on the outside row. Martin Silvassi did not quite go as well.
got straight line speed, though, on Ross Rizzo. He's going to try and take the position back coming into turn 1. Rizzo's going to hold it round the outside in that BMW. Excellent racing already in this first section of lap 1. Rizzo is going to have the advantage coming through here into the S's. That BMW with much more mechanical grip than the Mercedes does. And you can see Rizzo already drawing out a gap there as the field goes into single file behind him.
Love a look at the gap that Winkelmann's already pulled. Rizzo really needs to try and gain up as much time as possible in this section. But he also needs to think about this game. If a car behind wants to try and get a move done, might be smart for him to let someone by. Because all he needs, top 5. If he can do that, he wins the championship. Very important for him to make sure he finishes this race.
Yeah, certainly. And you also want to make sure that you aren't too complacent with letting people by either, because that top 6 could easily turn into 7th or 8th. And if Rizzo finishes 7th or below, Winkelmann is the title winner. But it looks like Rizzo is staying with Winkelmann here coming into Spoon. Obviously not hugely close, but he's managing to just stay with him. Got a bit of a gap on Silvassi now. Yeah,
and Rayner's right on the tail of Martin Silvassi, and possibly will have enough of a run here.
Yeah.
Let's see if he can get a move done.
Dare he go into 130R? No. not really a place to pass, let alone on lap 1. But it's going to be interesting for the rest of the field, because you don't want to go too far offline in 130R, as just saw Phil Gadd do such a thing, managed to keep the car straight though. So the field has come around to complete lap 1, and wow, I'm actually quite surprised that Ross Rizzo has kept that gap consistent to Anthony Winkelmann. Rayner, though, on Silvassi coming into turn 1. Can Silvassi hold it around the outside? Looks like he can.
Yeah, probably will be able to. It's a corner that you can hold that outside line, and he'll have the inside run up through the S's. The most iconic section of this track, or one of the most iconic sections of this track. There's so many iconic parts of this circuit.
Yeah, Suzuka's one of those circuits where, like, the entire track is iconic. You can't really pick out any 1 or 2 turns that stand out from all the others. They're all incredible. But this battle for third backwards is starting to turn into a proper train now.
It's turning into a proper fight for positions. We've got 5, 6 cars involved, and not too far behind is that TJ Brown in 9th. So we've got a real train of cars. The front 2 not as close as I'm sure Ross Rizzo would like, but the position he's in at the moment is enough for him to get this championship.
Yeah, 100%. And I think at the moment, for Ross Rizzo, it's just eyes forward. Just stay on the back of Winkelmann, try and stay out of trouble. Make sure that he gets maybe some of that draft from Winkelmann, saves a bit of fuel, because as it stands, he hasn't got much behind him to worry about. See if anyone springs any moves into the Casio triangle coming out of 130R. Rayner gaining quite a bit on Silvassi. Have a look at Brad Watson behind them.
Watson looks really pacey here, doesn't he? He looks like he's got a bit more pace than both Silvassi and Rayner, but not quite able to capitalise, and not quite as good an exit there as they come onto the front straight. And Rayner looks like the strongest on the straights, but Watson looks better under brakes.
Yeah, certainly does. Have a look at him closing up here under brakes here. Justin Strickland trying to get in on this as well. Meanwhile, they got the 2 BMWs behind them of Jeremy Franklin and Blake Neck. Through this section of the circuit, they are going to close right up on these Mercedes.
Speaking of closing up, have a look at the battle for the lead. It is on.
Oh yeah, it certainly is. This is the strongest part of the track for Ross Rizzo's car, and you can see he's just managing to stay with Winkelmann by a few car lengths. Of course, Winkelmann, once the power comes into play, he manages to bring out a gap, but through these turns, through the Degner turns, Rizzo, you can see, just gaining on corner entry. How's he going to go on the run out of the hairpin, though, is the big question. But, oh, Winkelmann!
Whoa,
big slide in the hairpin! And looks like Rizzo almost had a go at him there, but he won't be able to quite get it done down here, big flat-out section coming into Spoon. And he stays behind. And of course, once they exit this turn and get onto the back straight coming up to 130R, Winkelmann is just going to leave him in the dust.
Yeah, Rizzo really needs to try and tuck up in behind this rear wing, because then he won't lose as much ground down the straight. In saying that, he's done a good job of it, because he was right on the tail. They're coming up to the stronger section again for the BMW. Winkelmann just trying to hold on now.
Yeah, true. I'm actually quite surprised that Rizzo was able to stay with Winkelmann like that down the straight. That's very impressive. Coming down here to the start-finish stretch, Winkelmann's going to try and eke out a little bit more of a gap, but watch out for Rizzo coming into turns 1 and 2. He'll be right all over the back of Winkelmann.
It's just on 260 Ks in that BMW down the front straight. And now, right there, this is the strong section for the BMW.
Yeah, the problem is it's really hard to pass in this section, so Rizzo may well have the pace advantage over Winkelmann here, but there aren't very many places he can put his car to attempt to pass.
There's not a lot of places around this circuit in the BMW to pass the more outright stronger Mercedes, but Rizzo's doing a very, very good job of filling Winkelmann's mirrors at the moment. And you won't be liking that too much. It's very, very distracting, especially with the fluoro blue on Rizzo's car. It will be a little bit of a distraction. And Winkelmann, we saw last lap, not quite as strong.
Oh, got a pass, though, for third. Looks like Rayner's gotten up the inside of Silvassi, and Watson is going to try and get in on this as well. Silvassi and Rayner side by side through 200R, coming up to Spoon. Watson right on the bumper of Rayner, and
big hit
contact. And that's Silvassi off the track coming into Spoon, obviously with rear end damage. He's going to re-enter just in front of Blake Neck. And Silvassi will not be very happy with that at all. Brad Watson with a bit of front-end damage here, and it looks like Justin Strickland's going to try and get in on this. Oh, Watson, a little bit of contact here with Strickland, not leaving him quite enough room, I think, on the right-hand side of the track.
Just get a quick Cut Price Racing replay of all of that action, because there was lots of things going on there. So Rayner up the inside at the hairpin, not quite able to get the drive out. And then Silvassi's become the victim of something he had no control over. The Monster Energy car of Brad Watson into the back of Silvassi. And then, as you said, there's a little bit of damage to the front of Watson's car, and Strickland had a much better run out of Spoon. Nothing like a bit of tapping when you're going about 240 k's an hour down the back straight either.
Yeah, certainly not, especially when you got a wall right there next to you. But,
come back live.
Yeah, going back to all of these guys, Silvassi is now in a BMW sandwich. Jeremy Franklin ahead, Blake Neck behind. It looks like Blake is really monstering the back of him here coming into the hairpin. Silvassi covering the inside.
Oh, we got a car around. It's Brad Watson.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So what happened to him? Oh, looks pretty hectic. Just over-rotated in the hairpin, hit the wall, and had his car sprung up into the air.
Some of those lazy spins that we've seen with the... it's a bit weird. Good old iRacing physics there, but just one of those lazy spins that we see quite a lot in the Mercedes, as we're just seeing an incident with Philip Morton as well. They've just come past, I believe, JP Courier, and it's been almost contact between Matt Morris and Philip Morton. Morton's car looks a little bit wounded. It doesn't quite look like it's driving all that well.
Yeah, it's going sideways, and it looks like Morton went off at Spoon. Little bit of, I don't know if that was contact with Matt Morris or not. Looks like Morris just avoided him, but I'm not quite sure.
Back to the battle at the front. This is the closest Rizzo has been now.
Yeah, and you can see Anthony Winkleman is using those curbs like nobody's business. Eating curbs like they're hot wings at a southern barbecue. Just trying to keep himself ahead of Rizzo through this section because he knows that if he puts 1 foot wrong, Rizzo will be right there and may just get past and maybe even eke out a little bit of a gap before the next straights.
Was that hot wings at a southern barbecue?
Yes.
Yep, copy.
I've been watching a lot of hot ones lately.
I've heard of other things, but I was going to say some. I don't know if they're appropriate or not, but that was a good one. I like that one.
Oh, I appreciate it, Jay.
Rizzo not getting a great exit out of the hairpin there. He's a little bit compromised as they come up through 200R and up into Spoon. He's not there ready to pounce like he was a couple of laps ago.
No, certainly not, and you know that's something that I've been talking about all season. The Mercedes versus the BMW. The Mercedes, it has that drive off the apex of the corner because there's a ton of torque in that engine, and the traction of the Mercedes is just flat out better than any other GT3 car. The BMW, on the other hand, gets a lot of its speed in the mid-corner, so you can see right there on the exit of the Casio Triangle, Rizzo just struggled to put the power down efficiently, but you'll see through Sector 1, he'll bring that gap right back in. Saying
that, Winkleman's just done the fastest lap of the race, a 56.5 versus a 56.6 for Rizzo, so Winkleman well and truly on the pace at the moment. But Rizzo's staying with him a lot more than I was expecting that BMW to be able to do.
Yeah, certainly. I think Rizzo will definitely be benefiting from the fact that the gap is as close as it is in the first place because, have a look at how much he gains through that turn in the S's. Down the straights, if he was just a few more car lengths back, he would probably just start falling off. So the challenge for Rizzo is to, once again, just stay there as... Oh, he has a couple of internet issues. He's disappeared off the track.
He's back.
Oh, he's back.
He's back. Just back in the field as Silvassi now tries to work his way back forward. Blake neck tucked in right underneath... Oh, Rizzo had an incident at the hairpin.
Oh, no. He's really fallen back there from Winkleman. So...
I think his internet issues are causing a bit of havoc. When we've talked previously about drivers that have issues with ping and internet issues, sometimes find that they lose grip at integral parts of the track, and I feel like that has just happened there for Ross Rizzo.
Yeah, this is going to be the worst possible time for Rizzo to be having these internet issues. He's got a championship on the line. He's really not consistent in terms of his car appearing and disappearing off the track right now. Oh, we might have a pass on, though. Jeremy Franklin and Justin Strickland battling very hard. Looks like Strickland just managed to get a gap out of 130R. They got Silvassi and Neck right behind them.
Yeah, proper four-car battle. It was 2x2 for a little bit, and now they've all shuffled around, and just seen Ross Rizzo has disappeared off the timing screen altogether now.
Oh, no.
Hang on, he's now reappeared back into second for a quick moment, which is good, but side by side down the front straight, Silvassi and Franklin. So Silvassi gets a spot over the BMW just with that straight line speed that we've been talking about. Silvassi now back up into fifth.
Yep, and continuing that climb. Franklin and Neck, though, really not letting him go through this section. You can see even though Franklin was slightly offline, he's still managing to stay with Silvassi. Almost had a look up the inside, but Silvassi is using more of the road, and Franklin had to yield. He's facing pressure from Blake Neck now as Jeremy.
Just had a couple of drivers in with the reverse strategy, which we've seen a couple of times throughout this championship. JP Courier has been doing it pretty much every week for the last few weeks, getting himself into fresh air and getting back out there. He's done his pit stop, as has Philip Morton, Philip Stoneman and Brad Watson. They've all made their pit stops, repaired their cars, got back out there and going again, as we've got a change for the lead. Something's happened to Winkleman.
Oh. Oh, yeah. It has too. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Oh, yeah. Looks like Winkleman just went wide at the hairpin.
He's lost 2 spots too, so he's lost another spot too from...
Was that intentional?
No, because he's dropping all the way down the field. He's now into 7th.
Oh,
and
what
7th,
on earth has happened?
7th is not what he wants when he's trying to win the championship. So I'm wondering...
Yeah, he's going super slow.
I'm wondering if he's forgot to put fuel in the car. He's running on qualifying fuel. He's going to have to drive it back to the pits.
Oh,
put more fuel in it. Winkleman, I'm very sure he's run out of fuel.
Oh,
distracted himself. Wow, this is championship changing here. Winkleman has to basically win this race. And into the pits he comes. Car repaired, fueled up. He'll get ready to go again. But he's going to lose a bunch of time. The one positive, he's going to be in clean air, and Ross Rizzo is out by himself. Yeah, he's out of the car. What has happened here?
Has Winkleman given up?
I hope not. I hope there's something more to it. Hopefully there's some sort of issue, which we've seen at Imola as well. He had to give up the lead with an issue at home. So he had to get out of the sim and give up the race. So Rizzo now has this championship well and truly in his grasp. As Franklin just has a moment. I'm dumbfounded.
That's completely turned the championship on its head there. So, Rizzo, at this rate, can basically finish wherever he wants.
Yeah, Rizzo only has to finish the race to get this championship now. You saw a moment there for Franklin. Franklin checked up because Silvassi had a bit of a moment at the hairpin. And Blake Neck used that opportunity and went around the outside of Franklin while he was checked up. And Blake Neck now right on the tail, or closing up on Silvassi.
Yes, indeed. It's,
Okay, shifter broke.
Oh.
Now that's disappointing.
Wow, that is very disappointing for Winkleman. There's nothing worse as a sim racer than having your hardware fail you. Wow, you got to feel for the guy.
Yeah, that's disappointing. It's very devastating for him, especially when he had the lead of the race. He was doing everything he needed to do to win this championship. It may not have fallen his way, but he was doing what he had to do.
Yeah, it was going to be an uphill battle for the championship for Winkleman anyway, but nonetheless, you know, to be completely wiped out of any chance at all due to hardware issues, that has got to sting.
Battle brewing between two cars we don't see too many of. 515 of Simon Mazzomo in an Audi. Right behind him is the McLaren of Matt Morris. So two of the more difficult cars to drive in this series. Out there doing a pretty good job.
It's a battle of the mid-engine. Of course, the McLaren with a twin-turbo V8. The Audi R8 with a naturally aspirated V10. So another example of the breadth of different kinds of cars you see racing in GT3 around the world, and it's looking like Matt Morris is really looking racy behind Simon Mazzomo.
He looks really keen to get a pass done, but big moment there for Mazzomo. Morris almost followed him off into the weeds.
Yeah, looking pretty hairy there, coming through Spoon. Of course, it's a difficult corner to get right as it is, but just running a slight bit wide over that curb, and your run onto the straight is ruined. Fortunately, Mazzomo was able to get it checked up in time, but you can see Matt Morris almost on his bumper now coming into the Casio triangle, and we'll see what he can do down the start-finish straight here.
You'd expect the better run. You can see the closing speed of that McLaren fairly extreme, so might be able to do it here.
Nah, looks like he just came out and had a little bit of a look. Oh, big under brakes, and wow, he's caught on the AstroTurf, and he's just lost a bunch of time there already.
He's going to have to work hard to get all that time back again.
Having said that, Mazomo is helping him a little bit with it because his line through those next 2 turns was compromised. He took a bit too much curb and the car got unsettled, so I don't know, Morris might have a shot at this.
Now, just going back up to battle 3rd, 4th and 5th, because that's closed up. Rayner's got an issue. Now, Rayner and Silvassi, they are battling for the championship 3rd position, and Rayner's got damage to his car. Something's happened to Rayner.
Yes, indeed, and thinking it might have happened. It happened out of Degner too. He got caught on the AstroTurf and had an oversteer moment, went straight into the wall, and now that car is looking very sick. Oh, we got another incident, Jay, coming out of Spoon. Philip Morton at a standstill, and his car is looking destroyed. It's almost going. It's going fully sideways in a straight line. What happened to Philip Morton? Oh, that was a big crash, Jay.
Yeah, Cut Price Racing replay on screen now.
So
Looped it around, and then big hit from Strickland. Is it? Was that Strickland? It was. So Strickland was in 3rd position.
Oh.
And made heavy contact. So they'll both come into the pits, being Strickland and Rayner, but Morton's already been into the pits once and already taken his fast repair. So
yeah, he's retired. Philip Morton out of the race. So Strickland and Rayner now coming into the pits for repairs.
And this will change the championship complexion for the 3rd and 4th positions. Rayner had a 7-point lead over Silvassi, but that will be gone with that damage.
Oh, side by side in the S's, Jay, Mazomo and Morris. Oh, Mazomo's holding it. Oh, almost. They're going side by side through this entire complex. Wow. So this battle has really heated up. Oh, Morris, a little bit of a twitch. They're going to go side by side again. Mazomo back past Morris. Oh, it's looking pretty hairy out there, especially for Morris as he has another oversteer moment at Degner 2. Just gets it spun around and going again. Wow.
Tell you what, the Cut Price Racing replay is getting a workout tonight.
Yeah.
There is so much going on in this race. It's been awesome so far, and it pretty much sums up the action that we've had throughout this championship. It's been absolutely intense the whole way through. As Morris will now have to go again for the 3rd time to catch up to the back of Mazomo. Out in front, Ross Rizzo now leads by 8 seconds over Martin Silvassi. But the battle we need to watch now is Silvassi versus Rayner.
Yes.
Rayner back out there. Obviously, the drivers have a quick repair, so they do have the opportunity to fix their car and go again. But Rayner back in 11th at the moment, but effectively in 6th position.
Yeah, I think the big problem that Rayner is going to face here is that because of his incident and the trip back to the pits, he had to take avoiding action for the incident between Morton and Strickland, so he's lost quite a bit of time on his trip to the pits. He's got a bit of an uphill battle versus Silvassi in the remainder of this race. I tell you what would also be heating up pretty soon, I think. Martin Silvassi versus Blake Neck. Neck was 0.2 faster, even a little bit more on the last lap. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out.
It'll be good to see. As we know, Blake is very quick in these cars, and Silvassi's no stranger to racing at the elite level in these cars as well. So these two guys both know what they're doing in these machines. It'll be a very interesting battle over the next 20 minutes. We've only got 20 minutes left in this race. We're over halfway through.
Yeah, wow. Shows you how eventful this race has been. It only feels like the guys took the start 10 minutes ago.
Tell you what, if we've got action like this in a 45-minute race, we're going to have some action on Saturday night. 4 hours for the Blancpain Endurance Series this weekend. Looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, certainly. Saturday night drinks with V8s online will be coming back because I won't be a hungover wreck this weekend, unlike last time.
I might join you for one or two, but if I have too many, I'll be clicking all the wrong buttons. So make sure you join us Saturday night for Saturday night drinks here on V8s Online. We have a bit of a laugh, have a bit of fun, and we bring you some of the best GT racing the world has to offer.
Yeah, with some of the best sim racing teams, or some of the aspiring best sim racing teams for the final 26 spots in next year's Blancpain Endurance Series World Championship. Oh, Matt Morris has spun. Whoa, wow, he just did a KK Rosberg. He did a 360 no-scope and kept going straight.
I think we better get a Cut Price Racing replay of that one then.
Yeah, certainly. That was spectacular. Just got a bit loose through 130R, and then as he hit the curb, it just sent the car going again. But
what? How did he get that going? Well done, Matt. That's that was not what I was expecting to see when I saw you spin around there. So well done. Those tyres won't be feeling too great, but that was very spectacular.
Holding up a board with the number 10 on it right now, that was fantastic.
Going to battle 8th and 9th on track at the moment. Brad Watson, Justin Strickland. Now, these two guys have already come together once, made a bit of contact when Watson got into the back of Silvassi. Strickland was alongside Silvassi at the time. There's too many names in here.
Yeah, I've lost track. All I'm thinking is there's a car, there's another car, they're close together.
Yep, that sounds good.
Well, this car, the dynamic sim racing machine of Justin Strickland, looking at his last lap time, a 57.8, Brad Watson a 56.7, so Watson took a chunk of time out of Strickland that last time round, and it looks like they are closing up ever more, and looming behind them is Mark Rayner.
Rayner a couple of tenths quicker than Strickland last lap, but Watson was a lot quicker than Strickland last lap, nearly a full second. Over a full second, sorry.
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy pace from Watson after his initial dramas in the early part of this race. He's putting the hammer down and trying to get back some of the positions that he has lost.
Last lap actually was Watson's fastest lap of the race. The Strickland one's wide through 130.
That's never not hairy.
No. Tell you what, the commitment levels have been very, very impressive from most of the guys in this race. Great to watch, but I'm glad I'm in the commentary box because I would not want to be in the driver's seat.
Yeah, certainly. Well, it looks like the gap is closing down the start-finish straight between Strickland and Watson. I'll tell you what, up ahead of them, Jeremy Franklin isn't exactly out of the woods yet.
No, he's going to get rounded up by those two Mercedes behind. Soon to be three Mercedes the way that they're going, because Rayner won't be too far from catching up to them. So it's going to be a very interesting battle. The thing with these guys too is Silvassi and Neck are probably going to come out right in the middle of this battle. Whoa, big moment for Strickland.
Oh, and here comes Watson. Watson.
Oh, I thought Watson was going to take to the grass to get the move done. I'm glad he didn't.
Oh, jeez.
It's on here.
Yeah, it certainly is. Let's have a look at what happens up at the hairpin. This has been a favourite spot for people to have a half spin. Oh, much more direct line to the apex from Watson, but Strickland has the traction on the exit. This is going to be very interesting coming up to and out of Spoon. And Strickland will still be calming down in that cockpit from his almost spin exiting the S's. Little bit of oversteer from Strickland coming out of Spoon, but he manages to keep it nice and straight. So let's see what Watson can do here. A little bit of a draft coming up to 130R. There'll be a bit of aero push. Strickland running a little wide out of 130R again, just touching that AstroTurf on the exit. This is excellent. This is nail-biting stuff for the minor positions between these guys.
The thing, they're not overly minor. They're fighting for championship positions too. So Franklin trying to hold on for 5th position in the championship ahead of these guys. Strickland is trying to get himself into the top 10. And Watson, who joined midway through the series, trying to find him in the listing, 31st. So he'll try and move himself up into the top 15, and a result here will do that. So every position in this race really does count for things in the championship.
Yeah, certainly does, and I think that's been the story all season. It's been quite a close championship in spite of, you know, occasionally some races having less action than others. The championship battle has... Whoa, there's a spinner.
That? Matt Morris.
That was Matt Morris. Yeah. So, luckily he was able to get out of the way of Strickland and Watson before they came up on him. And you're seeing, once again, Strickland taking a much wider line through the hairpin than Watson.
And the McLaren, once again, bitten hard at this circuit, not enjoying this layout at all. But as we said before, well done to Matt Morris for continuing to drive the same car no matter how tough it's been. Very, very hard to drive that car at this circuit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the McLaren, it was demonstrated in Blancpain at Monza. McLaren is definitely the car to have there for its straight line speed prowess, and you can see Matt Morris already making some gains on the cars in front of him there in these straight sections of the lap. But when you get to any kind of corner, the McLaren unfortunately falls short. And, Strickland, big moment coming out of the last turn.
And Morris had a big moment coming out of the Casio Triangle as well, so he's now got Mark Rayner right in behind him, and Rayner will round him up soon because we're coming up to the point where half the field who hasn't pitted yet will have to come in and make their compulsory pit stop. Well, not compulsory pit stops, they could make it if they'd fuel save enough, but we haven't seen anyone be able to do it. So a little bit too long or too big a stretch to be able to save enough fuel to make a full race on a tank.
Yeah, and I tell you what, the battle for second place on track between Martin Silvassi and Blake Neck has closed right up in the meantime as all of that has been happening.
I reckon Blake Neck might be thinking about making a move here. He's looking very, very racy behind Silvassi.
Well, we've ticked over the half-hour point in this race, and Silvassi and Neck will be thinking about pitting soon, surely. Well, as I say that, yeah, right on cue. Blake Neck into the pits, probably looking to undercut Silvassi. Perhaps.
Oh, Morris! Oh. Massive, massive, massive crash for Matt Morris.
Oh, no. Yeah, and that's going to be race done for him. He just... What happened there? He just went straight on its spoon.
Yep, it's decided to absolutely spit him out. Didn't even chew before it spat. Did the McLaren? It's absolutely destroyed that car. And actually hasn't put his foot on the brake at all. So I'm thinking there's something else gone wrong here. Took a long time before he's got his foot on the brake and ended up in the fence. But come back live. Blake Neck has completed his pit stop, out about 5 seconds ahead of Franklin in the end. So Blake Neck's done a very, very good job while these other guys were battling and fighting and involved in some incidents to clear a decent gap.
Yeah, certainly has, and that begs the question, where is Silvassi going to come out in all of this when he makes his pit stop?
And what that also is going to do is mean that Silvassi versus Rayner for the championship, 2nd versus 7th, I feel that's going to be very, very close.
We shall see. Well, we should expect Silvassi in within the next couple of laps. Ross Rizzo, meanwhile, has been driving a nice control race. He makes his pit stop now. Of course, no pressure from behind for Ross Rizzo now. And Silvassi follows him in, so the battle between Silvassi and Neck, this may very well decide it.
We'll see where Blake Neck comes out of this. Fairly short stop for Neck in the BMW, 8.7 seconds. Most of the other cars are doing 10 to 12 second stops, so Blake a little bit shorter stop. Rizzo's already away, 8.8 second stop, so very, very quick for him. Silvassi still stopped, 9.5. So 6/10 quicker. Silvassi versus Neck. This is going to be a drag race into turn 1. And have a look at that, the BMW's got him well and truly.
Yep, and I think Blake Neck will have to thank his fuel saving behind Silvassi when he was drafting him. That undoubtedly gave him the fuel advantage that he needed for that shorter stop. And that's worked out beautifully for Blake.
Battle between Strickland and Watson still definitely on.
Yeah.
Silvassi and Neck, I think, is going to heat up in the next 2 laps or so. So, in saying that, it was already fairly hot. But it's going to get heated because now Silvassi behind. And as I said, no real points difference between Silvassi and Rayner. So Silvassi will want to get one more spot to try and seal the 3rd place in the championship.
Oh, pushing a little hard through the hairpin, though. That's not going to help his exit down this straight at all.
I think he's trying to work the car too hard to get up to the back of Blake Neck now.
Gets on the power nicely out of Spoon. Coming down this back stretch, I'm just going to have a quick look at the top speeds between these guys. Blake just hitting 251 on the entry. 257 for Silvassi on the entry to 130R. So if Silvassi can just get the power down nicely out of here, Neck may very well soon be in trouble.
I'll tell you who's in a bit of trouble too is Jeremy Franklin, because he has Strickland and Watson right on his tail.
Oh yeah. Strickland will definitely get him here coming into turn 1. Have a look at the run that he's got. Franklin just helpless in the BMW. Strickland 261 final speed down the straight, but have a look at Franklin try and come back at him in turns 1 and 2. So now it's an inverse situation of what we have seen earlier. Now it's a BMW in a Mercedes sandwich. Wondering how long it may be until Brad Watson gets Jeremy Franklin. Having said that, we saw with Neck versus Silvassi and Rizzo versus Winkleman, if the BMW can just stay with the Mercedes, stay within a couple of car lengths, then there isn't much to worry about. Franklin just ran over that curb in Degner 2. A little too much, I think, for his liking. He's doing a good job of staying with Strickland, though.
I'm surprised Mark Rayner hasn't been able to catch up to these guys anywhere near as much as I was expecting. So, Rayner way off the back of this train of cars, this 3-car battle between Strickland, Franklin and Watson. Silvassi's dropping time to Neck a fair amount fairly quickly too.
Yeah, so unfortunately a couple of guys just not able to make it work. Silvassi's outlap has not been... Well, Silvassi's first hot lap on this stint, I think, has not been quite up to what he was expecting. And it looks like Watson's going to get Franklin here.
The issue he's got is he's stuck on the outside here, and if Franklin can get a little bit of side draft. He might be able to hold it. I don't think he's going to be able to. I think the speed difference is going to be too much. And Watson goes through. And saying that, under brakes, Watson looked really, really squirrely. And I just pulled it up. So we've got 5 minutes left on the clock. The predictometer's decided to go to sleep again. We've got 5 minutes left in this race.
Yes, indeed. And what a race it has been. We've seen a championship effectively decided probably a bit earlier than any of us would have liked, but all the same, that is the way of things. And just taking a look at Jeremy Franklin over those last couple of laps, he was being very aggressive with those curbs. I think perhaps a bit over-aggressive, and that's contributed to him losing that position to the two Mercedes ahead of him. Don't know if Mark Rayner will be able to catch up to him in time for the end of the race.
No, I don't think he will, but yeah, Franklin's looking like he's overdriving the car now. He's pushing way too hard, and it's costing him a lot of ground on the two Mercedes ahead. And as you said, if the BMWs can stick with the Mercedes through the fast sections, they've proved in this race that they can get past. And I think we're both as surprised about that as anyone, because I didn't think they would have had a chance at this circuit.
Certainly not. Meanwhile, back in the field, positions 10 and 11, it's a battle of the Audis. Philip Stoneman and Simon Mazzomo getting extremely close now. Stoneman just lifting off. No sense in trying to get a move done at Spoon, but if Mazzomo runs wide like he just did then, well, he'll stake one up the inside. Yeah, why not? And it's going to be side by side down this straight. Mazzomo looks like he has a tiny bit of a run over Stoneman. And I think Stoneman is going to lift off here coming into 130R.
You sure about that?
Oh, they both got on the brakes, but looks like Mazzomo just gave Stoneman a little bit of room. Stoneman overshooting the chicane. Both of those guys making a few mistakes on that lap. It looks like Mazzomo has given himself a nice gap over Stoneman after that mistake, but looking at their previous lap times, Stoneman doing low 58s. Mazzomo's lap times very inconsistent. He's been high 58s to low 59s, a couple of 2-minute lap times in there. So looks like this battle's already closing up.
Yeah, it's closing up once again, and Stoneman will probably look at getting a move done. I think they're just having fun going side by side. It's always good fun, even if you are back in the field, just to find someone to race and have a bit of fun with, because at the end of the day, that's what it is all about. And I think the series has shown that you can have a lot of fun in these cars and find someone to race regardless of your speed.
Yeah, for sure, and GT3 racing has always been really good for that. It's one of those categories for the masses. The cars are, they're easy to drive, hard to master, very easy to get into. Anyone can have a run in a GT3 car and find someone to race against, and this series has certainly shown that.
Going to cut away from this battle because Strickland versus Watson is well and truly on. It is the last lap of the race.
Yes, it is. Ross Rizzo crossed the line about a third of a lap ago.
We've still got a minute left on the clock, so he should come across the line, or it should get to about 20 seconds before he finishes his lap, before the end of the race, or before the final lap is called. You know what I'm talking about, Reese?
Yeah.
I'm doing a good job of not explaining it, but Watson doesn't look like he's going to be able to get a move done on Strickland yet, but Stoneman, Mazzomo down the front straight, drag race, Audi versus Audi, here we go.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Stoneman already caught up right up to the back of Mazzomo here. It was 58.5 for Stoneman, a 59.1 for Mazzomo. And have a look at how Stoneman creeps up on him here into the S's. Mazzomo leaves him a little bit of room, They go side by side, scintillating through the S's, experimenting with a couple of different lines. Tapping the brakes, just trying to keep the weight on the front of the car through these turns.
And a cutaway to Ross Rizzo because he's just coming up to the final complex of corners. Great job from Ross Rizzo. Fantastic championship. Just been so consistent the whole way through. Only wins 3 races. This has been his 3rd one. Well done, Ross Rizzo. Your first Oceanic Sprint Championship winner. Well done, mate.
Yep, and a well-deserving winner at that. As you said, Jay, just Mr. Consistency all throughout the season. He was there when others were not, and he's put in a fantastic effort in this series. Congratulations, Ross Rizzo, on your championship. Blake Neck has finished 2nd. Silvassi is going to finish 3rd. Looks like Watson was not able to get past Strickland.
Mazomo Stoneman is still well and truly on, though.
Certainly is, and I'm wondering if Stoneman will try and just send one up the inside at 130R. Look, he's got a bit of a run, bit of a draft here on Mazomo. Lifts off slightly, though. You think he's just going to stay behind here at 130R? Maybe
he's going to set up the chicane, I reckon.
Yeah, set up for the chicane, and look, he's already pulling out. Not quite able to gain. They go side by side through the Casio triangle. Who is going to win out this battle of the Audis? It looks like Philip Stoneman has got it.
Great battle, guys. Good last couple of laps. That was very, very good to watch. But massive congratulations to Ross Rizzo. Race is now officially done. Rizzo is your series champion. Let's see if he can do some donuts.
Well, I think he's put away the traction control on that BMW, and that is a very impressive burnout there. Lovely bit of smoke.
Yep, well done to Ross on that. We'll give you about an 8 out of 10 for that because it's not easy to do in the BMW, but wins the race by 10 seconds in the end over Blake Neck. Great job from him. Martin Silvassi finishes the race in 3rd. Justin Strickland in 4th. Just held on from Brad Watson in 5th. Jeremy Franklin finishes in 6th with Mark Rayner 7th. TJ Brown in 8th. Mark Simon 9th. And Philip Stoneman ends up taking 10th position.
Yep, just behind him by a 10th, Simon Mazomo in 11th. JP Courier, the last driver to actually complete the full race distance. Your retirees, Matt Morris, Philip Morton, Anthony Winkleman. What a shame for him. It would have been a nice battle with Ross Rizzo to close this series out, but unfortunately hardware issues got the better of him. And Phil Gadd, the last driver to complete laps in this race. That is your field for the final round of Season 1 of the Oceanic Sprint Championship. And as we've been saying, Jay, what a season it's been, and I can't wait for Season 2.
Yeah, cannot wait for Season 2. I think it starts the 30th of January next year. And as we said, I said to you the other day, we've already got almost 100 broadcasts booked in for next year already. The OSC Season 2 was one of those ones that we booked in, and once we see it grow and grow and grow and continue to grow, we're going to end up with nearly 200 broadcasts next year, which is going to be amazing. 2018 will be a massive year for Vouts Online and a massive year for sim racing in general.
Yep, it certainly will, and I cannot wait for it. But it's time.
We're just going to wait and see if we can get Ross Rizzo in for a quick chat.
Yes.
And then we'll wrap it up. We're just trying to get him over to have a quick word.
Yeah, of course, we'll have a bit of a chat to our series champion.
Get Ross Rizzo and Anthony Winkleman in for a chat, and hopefully they can come over. I'm just waiting to see if they turn up. But as I said, this championship continues or starts again on the 30th of January. New rules, slightly tweaked format, an hour finale race, 45-minute races again, pit stop required. It's going to be an awesome series and a cool range of tracks as well for next year.
Yeah, for sure. We've got a fantastic schedule for the Oceanic Sprint Championship Season 2. We got Daytona Road. We got Bathurst, Silverstone, Donington, Spa, Monza, Sebring, Road Atlanta, Phillip Island, and Nürburgring close off the season in that 1 hour finale with 2 compulsory pit stops. That's going to be crazy. I cannot wait for that.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome season, and the endurance side of this championship is, of course, this weekend, Sunday morning, 9:45 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. 6 hours of Sebring. Super Saturday, Super Sunday, Super Weekend here on V8 Online. 14 hours, over 14 hours of live broadcasting this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be exhausted at the end, but it's going to be good fun over this weekend. It's heaps of awesome series, and we'll crown another champion in V8 Scops this weekend as well.
Yeah, certainly will. Will it be Jared Filsell or Madison Down? The big question that is plaguing the minds of everyone watching V8 Scops. Make sure to find out when we go racing at Road America for the final round of that.
So just waiting for the two top finishers in the championship to come over for a quick chat. Hopefully they will be able to make it over. They're just trying to get Discord working to their liking so they can come and join us in the commentary booth. But I want to say big congratulations to the guys at Oceanic Racing and soon to be GT Leagues Australia. They've done a fantastic job with this series and the OEC on the way they've adminned and put the series together. They've listened to people's suggestions. They've worked on trying to make the series better, and they've done a very, very good job. So well done to those guys. So we've now been joined by the series champion. Congratulations, Ross Rizzo. Well done, mate.
Thanks very much, Jay and Reese. Slightly not the way you really want to win it, but these things happen. I'm gutted for Anthony. That was shaping up to probably be our best battle of the season. I was just grinning from ear to ear, that whole time. And then when I saw him, have his issues, pretty gut wrenching to actually see that.
Yeah, certainly. Well, nonetheless, it was going to be a good finish for you in any case, because you managed to stay with Winkleman very nicely in those opening laps. So, yeah, shame that the battle had to end like that. But nonetheless, you are the series champion, and you did it through consistently finishing races in top positions, which I suppose is something to take home from this.
Yeah, well, if nothing, even if I didn't win the championship, it's been one of the best seasons I've ever had, just from that sheer consistency. Normally, I reflect on my races whenever there's a spin or a crash, and I think of where I should have ended up. And in every race, I think I ended up about where I deserved to be in every occasion. So that felt pretty cool.
No, it's been a fantastic championship. Well done. We better let you thank your sponsors and thank whoever you need to thank for your championship win. So well done, mate. Go for it. Floor is yours.
Well, first, thanks to you guys at V8 Online. You're very professional broadcasters and Proforce Racing themselves, our partners at Wax It. So we hope you cars gleamed in your colours. We've certainly enjoyed having them. Hope you stay on board. GTI, Wax, Race Centre, Acacia Marketplace, and of course, last but not least, the Oceanic Racing guys, Simon, Phil, and TJ. Fantastic series you guys have done, and look forward to racing next season and finishing out the Endurance Championship.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box, Ross. We will see you in the Oceanic Endurance Championship and hopefully in OSC Season 2.
Hey, guys.
Ross Rizzo, your series champion. And now in the commentary box, we got Anthony Winkleman. Anthony, what a way for that championship to end for you. You must be gutted.
Yeah, boys, bloody devo, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway. I needed Ross to have a pretty big mess up to get away with anything there. But I was just looking forward more to having a good race with him. His place was on song again tonight, as usual, and yeah, it would have been a bit of fun.
Can you explain to everyone exactly what happened? We sort of heard a bit of a rumour, but not quite 100% sure exactly what happened. Can you talk us through it?
My paddle shifter literally landed in my lap, snapped in half. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. So, that's racing, but I hate saying that.
Yeah, I mean that's completely understandable, Anthony. That's it's just one of those things. Like, in the broadcast earlier on, I said as a sim racer, it's just the worst thing to have happen to you, to have your hardware determine your fate in a race, because that's one of those things that just when it happens, you're completely done, and there's not much you can really do about it. But nonetheless, you came close to winning this championship, and you will finish second in the Drivers' Championship for the Oceanic Sprint Championship, which is a fantastic achievement nonetheless, because this season has just been insanely competitive. You've managed to rise up.
Yeah, man, I've had a ball. Both me and Martin really enjoyed the series. Pretty spewing. We missed the first round, which would have been handy coming into this race, and also I think around that Snetterton, I also had another hardware failure of a USB cord disconnect. So it's all happened, man. But it is what it is, and yeah, I can't take anything away from Ross. He's just driving was second to none throughout the whole series, mate. Nice and consistent.
Big congratulations to you, nonetheless, and I'm sure we will see you contending for the championship when we start again in January next year. Really looking forward to having you as part of the show next year again.
Yeah, man, we'll be here with bells on. Hopefully another couple of moo cows can come and join the party too.
That'll be good to see.
Always good when the mooies are out, mate.
All right, good congratulations, mate, and we'll let you quickly thank who you need to thank before we let you go.
I'd just like to thank all the Mad Cow boys, Trick Sim Sports, and also you guys for the broadcast. Done a cracker job, and Simon and the crew for running the series, who were just, it's just run flawless the whole time, and just a really good bunch of guys to be around, and we all had a ball. So, yeah, look forward to next season.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for joining us, Anthony Winkleman, and we'll see you, hopefully, in Season 2.
Sounds good, boys. Look forward to it.
Well, Jay, that brings to an end our coverage of the Oceanic Sprint Championship with Anthony Winkleman there. And, of course, Ross Rizzo, our series champion. What a season it's been.
I'm actually a bit disappointed it's ending, because the racing has been absolutely phenomenal in this series. It's been intense. Even the races where we didn't have a large number of cars turn up, we still had awesome battles, especially at the front. And Rizzo and Winkleman, I think back to that battle at Homestead where they battled in the pits, and the pit lane basically decided where the race was won between those guys. So it's been a fantastic season, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yep, I certainly am, and you'll be able to catch that at the end of January, Oceanic Sprint Championship Season 2, starting then with the first round. Where is it?
Daytona.
Daytona. There we go. Fantastic. I'm doing a great job remembering stuff tonight, aren't I? Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's all right. Oh. It's hump day, you're right.
Yeah. Of course. It's been a long day. That's what we like to say here at V8 Online.
I'm gonna let you have Saturday night drinks when you come and join me in the commentary box next time.
Yeah, sure. And Saturday night drinks, of course, is coming up this Saturday. The Blancpain Endurance Series qualifiers. Of course, we are broadcasting the first split of that, so be sure to catch us there to see some of the world's best sim racers compete for the final 26 spots in next year's Pro Series Championship. And of course, we can't forget that we've got the final round of the V8 Supercar Online Premier Series coming up very soon as well.
Yeah, looking forward to everything that's coming up. Big couple of weeks here in V8 Online, and next year, as we said, already shaping up to be a big one with 100 broadcasts already booked in for 2018. It is going to be a phenomenal next 13 months, because this is now the end of November, and once we get through December and we're into next year, it's going to be absolutely insane. Some of the big things we've got hidden away that we can't tell you about are going to be exciting and interesting as well. So make sure you like all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter. Follow us on those platforms, and you'll keep up to date with everything going on behind the scenes here at V8 Online.
Yep, certainly will, and we hope to see you there as well. But thank you very much, viewers, for joining us for this broadcast of the final round, the Oceanic Sprint Championship presented by West End Mazda. Your race winner and championship winner tonight was Ross Rizzo. Thank you very much for watching us here on V8's Online. See you next time.